All right, I got a couple of things. The aggravated assaults, really nothing much from those. We had quite a few domestics, strangulations, some fights, and people kicked, but no serious injuries out of any of those. The arson, that was a house fire. I have a report that was done. No arrests on that, no charges. They're still looking into trying to determine the cause of the house fire, so this is kind of just a precautionary report. The burglaries, we got a couple of things out of those. The first one, this was Saturday evening, about 5:45 p.m., and this was on North Cliff Avenue near Chambers, so that's kind of by the Big Sioux River at the bottom of the big hill there. Initially, the call came in. There was some people that thought, or that had called Game Fish and Parks because they thought there was some people that were fishing illegally, or maybe some issue with that. So Game Fish and Parks found a couple of guys. There's actually 3 of them to start with. One guy took off running. The other 2 had a bag with them. Turns out they had not been fishing at all, but they had this bag that had some catalytic converters and then a reciprocating saw with them. So they ended up calling the police officers. Eventually, the third person was found as well. What we figured out is that these 3 basically kind of walked up the hill. There's a salvage yard up there, and they cut off 4 different catalytic converters of different vehicles. And so once it took a while to kind of sort everything out, but once they did that, all 3 of them were arrested for third-degree burglary and petty theft. All 3 of these guys are from Des Moines, Iowa, so I'm not sure if that was kind of their goal, was to come here and steal catalytic converters, but obviously this has been a big issue lately, that we've had a lot of catalytic converters stolen, so it's one of the things detectives will work to see if they're connected to any of the other ones. But at this point, we know that they were connected to the thefts of the parts from the salvage yard, and so we'll work on seeing if there's a connection with other cases.
Where did that third-degree burglary charge come from?
Say that again?
Where did that third-degree burglary charge come from? Is that just
From entering the property, yeah. It's so the burglary charge is third degree is enters or remains in unoccupied structure. So since there's not a building there, there must have been something that they entered, but anyway, that's the third degree burglary charge. Do you want their names? The first one, his last name, I'll just spell it, Bhandari. First is Chhabi. No middle name. He's 19, from Des Moines. The second guy, his last name is Bhattari. First is Sager, and he's 22, from Des Moines. And the last one, his last name is Rai. First is Ram, Ram. Middle is Chandra, Chandra, and he's 27, from Des Moines.
and where does it all take place at?
It was on North Cliff Avenue by Chambers. That's probably where the street shop is. So it would have been on the east side of the road there. That probably the closest area.
And they just had the 4 catalytic converters that they had.
Yeah, let me double check on that number. I think that's what it was. Yeah, 4 catalytic converters.
Did that third guy get a fleeing at all charge, or he was
No, yeah, I think he took off before the game fish and parks talked to them, so there's no fleeing charge with that. And the other burglary that was also on Saturday, this was Saturday night, just about 11 p.m., and this was to a business in the 5,000 block of Southwestern Avenue. They had some problems of things going missing over the last period of time, and so the owner had set up some cameras inside the business and ended up getting a notification that somebody was in there, so I think one of the cameras must have activated. So he was giving updates as he called police. He could see where this guy was going, and he had a pretty good image of him and didn't recognize him as an employee or a cleaning crew or anything like that. So the officers got there and ended up finding this guy hiding in a closet. He had taken some cash, some small amount of cash from inside the business. So he was arrested for burglary and then possession of burglary tools and theft. I think that's petty theft, but yeah, petty theft. Also, intentional damage to property were the 4 charges. Once they were kind of looking into this, they figured out he was the same person that entered the business probably about a month or 2 ago, which everything kind of aligns with that. So he had 2 charges on each of those. Sounds like he was able to pry a door, and then that allowed him access into the building. Do you want his name? His last name is Eaglefeather, Eaglefeather. First is Jason, Jason. Middle is Troy, Troi, and he is 42 from Sioux Falls.
Does it say which business it was?
It does. Just because of Marcy's Law, I'm not able to give out the business name.
you said it was a 5,000 block of South?
It was 5,000 block of Southwestern Avenue is where it was.
Did you give a time in that last case?
Which one?
Like
The catalytic converters?
I know.
Yeah, that was about 5:45 p.m. And then this burglary was just before 11 p.m.
You have no idea, like, roughly when that, you said he was the same guy from a month ago? Do you have timeline?
Well, yeah, and I don't know, the owner was, when he was talking with the officers, kind of let him know all that stuff, and so they were able to figure that out. So I don't know if there was a report that was made before.
But you said stuff was missing.
Stuff, yeah, again, it was a small amount of cash that was taken before. And he thought maybe about 3 weeks or so, I think, is what we're looking at. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I think that's just the best time frame. There had been some others that things looked like somebody had been in the business, but I don't know if they knew conclusively if somebody was in there or just thought that things seemed a little bit out of place. But obviously there was enough activity that he was concerned about it and had surveillance cameras put up inside the business. That's pretty much it for the burglaries. The other, we had some apartment garages that were entered, some other garages, and then just an apartment that was entered. The disorderly conducts, most of those are just reports. A few trespassings in there, a couple of people fighting, but nothing big to speak of. The explosives that's on the log, that was some type of ordinance that was found. The bomb squad was called in, so they're still looking at it, but it was basically just sitting alongside the road, so don't have a whole lot of information on that. The family disputes and family offenses, those are all reports, nothing big from those. Frauds, larcenies, and narcotics, I didn't have a chance to get to any of those. I didn't hear of anything big. I did talk with one of the detectives with the larcenies, and he said there was a few catalytic converter thefts that had been reported, but no suspects on any of those. So,
We don't know if those are connected.
right, we don't know if those are connected to the other people that were arrested. The rape and sex offenses, those are all reports. The simple assaults, most of those are domestics, nothing real serious from any of them. Nothing suspicious from the unattended deaths. The vandalisms, we had a few cars and some rooms that were damaged, some building rooms. And the weapons violation, I don't have any reports. I think that might be a duplicate one from one of the aggravated assaults, but nothing on that one. And then car accidents, actually everybody did pretty good this morning. We had 9 accidents that were reported from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So considering the amount of snow we had and the conditions of the roads, I think people are doing a good job of driving slow and giving that extra room. So not really much to speak of. I'd say that's probably close to about normal what we would see.
Nothing super serious out of those.
No, I didn't hear of any reports of any injuries or anything serious.
What should drivers do if they come to an intersection that has the streetlights out, or if they're covered in snow?
Well, yeah, I mean, if a couple of different things, but if they're out completely, you have to treat an intersection as a 4-way stop. So whether, sometimes the streetlights will default and they'll flash red in all directions. Obviously, you treat that as a 4-way stop. If there's no signals at all, you still have to come to a complete stop and just basically pretend like there's a stop sign in every corner. So everybody needs to stop and then go through. If they're covered with the snow, if that makes it a little bit difficult to see, I mean, there's usually enough of them that you can get a glimpse of, whether it's a red light or a green light. But if there's absolutely no way to see it at all, you probably have to treat that as a 4-way stop. But there's going to be some indications, especially if it's on a busier road, and you're going to be able to know, I'm guessing not all directions that the lights would be covered. So if you see traffic proceeding, I would say you're probably safe, going the same, like on the same roadway. But if you're going to make a turn onto the roadway or cross traffic, you just have to be careful and make sure that you're doing the best you can. But if you can't see it at all, you got to treat it as a 4-way stop.
That's the same as just coming to an intersection slow too, and just assessing the situation.
Right, if you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to stop and do sometimes depending on the angle, you can look, to the other side and see if it's red or green, and obviously that'll help you to know what your signal is. But using the other clues from the other traffic, I'd say it'd be pretty rare to have all 4 sides of an intersection that have stoplights covered and you're not able to see them.
What would you do if somebody's making a left turn at a light, and you just treat that as a 4-way stop?
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you can't see the signals or the signals are out, you need to treat it as a 4-way stop. And so it doesn't matter if you're making a left turn, right turn, or going straight. You still have to come to a stop, and then you can proceed from there.
Have you guys had any reports of that at all today? Any streetlights out?
I didn't look. Let me see if they were out or if they were covered. What's that?
How about that or any crashes or anything?
I didn't dig into the crashes. I just looked at the numbers, so that would probably take me a little bit longer to see. There's a few traffic hazards. So there's one at 57th in Minnesota. That was one that the lights were covered in snow. That was about 10:30. Had somebody else called in at 57th and Southeastern that the lights were completely covered. The officer when he got there, said that you can still see the light through the snow. Traffic was moving through that intersection without any issue. Let's see, 41st and Sertoma. That was another one that's snowing the traffic lights. That was about 9:30. 57th and Cliff, that was just before 9 a.m. That was another one. They said the lights were covered in snow. The officer said they were still slightly visible. So some of those you probably have to look closely. It's obviously not as easy if there's some snow covering it, but
So if this is like a light snow cover, just kind of look at some of the other lights and just kind of assess, kind of.
right. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you have to do is really just assess it. You know, it may be hard to see, but like I said, there's usually some other clues. But if you can't see at all because it's snow covered or because they're out, then you just still have to treat it like a four-way stop.
Do you have anything like 57th and the east?
Like a traffic light or just a call?
I thought I heard, like traffic light was out earlier.
I don't see anything in here at 57th and Louise. Let me check a different way. Thinking. Went really fast before. Got my hopes up. Well, anything else while that's thinking? It doesn't help.
The ordinance that was found on the side of the road, what, did you say the day and time that it was found?
Yeah, that was. That was early Sunday morning. It was probably around somewhere around midnight. So it might have, I'm not sure the exact time on that, but yeah, it sounds, yeah, I'll just say it was right around midnight. And that was near, it was near 10th and Minnesota was where it was found.
Was it found in a, like, was it in a backpack or a bag or?
It was just, no, just on the ground, basically just out, yeah. Okay, there was one at 6:46 at 57th and Louise. Somebody said the light wasn't changing. The officer, when they got there, said that it was working. It wasn't hard to see because of the snow, but.
You don't know if there's any crashes as a result of the snowy lights at all?
I don't. I'd have to do some digging on that. That'd take a little bit longer to look up. I'd have to read all of those reports. So, anything else? Okay, thanks.